You've packed perfectly. You're early. You're calm. You roll your carry-on toward the gate, thinking everything is under control, and then you hear it. "I'm sorry, that bag isn't flying." In a single sentence, your entire trip unravels, because in 2026, the carry-on you've trusted for years, the one that's followed you through dozens of flights, can now cost you hundreds of dollars, hours of delays, or even stop you from boarding altogether. What changed? Not you, not your bag, the rules. Quietly, behind the scenes, TSA and the major airlines rewrote the entire carry-on rulebook. Size, weight, batteries, personal items, liquids, even the ID you use at security. And the worst part? Most travelers don't even know these new rules exist until it's too late. Until they're standing at the gate, surrounded by passengers, while an agent tells them their bag is suddenly illegal. But that won't be you. Not today. Because in the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly what changed, the new traps travelers are falling into every day, and how to beat the system before it beats you. Your trip starts now, and this time, you're ready. Why 22 Anbrio? Why Kindidu na, Wasun Why Kergans? Changed everything, has nothing to do with new destinations, and everything to do with new restrictions. For the first time in a decade, the biggest travel shakeup isn't about where you fly. It's about what you're allowed to bring, how you prove your identity, and how closely airlines can enforce the rules you thought you already knew. Airlines insist these changes reduce delays and keep flights on schedule. But travelers see something very different. Stricter rules, harsher enforcement, and a wave of new fees that seem to appear out of nowhere. And the truth sits right in the middle. Because 2026 marks the full nationwide rollout of TSA's upgraded safety protocols, tighter screening, enhanced bag inspections, lithium battery enforcement, biometric testing, and the final transition into real ID and digital ID systems. The security process is faster when it works, but far less forgiving when it doesn't, and airlines are quietly cashing in on the confusion. From overweight carry-ons to oversized personal items to last-minute gate checks that cost double what they used to. So let's start with the #1 rule, catching millions of travelers off guard. So, rule #1, the size and weight trap, the rule catching more travelers than any other. For years, that familiar 22 by 14 by 9-inch roller was the gold standard, the unofficial universal carry-on. But in 2026, those metal bag sizers at the gate are no longer guidelines. They are absolute law. If your bag doesn't glide in effortlessly, no pushing, no squeezing, no tilting, you fail. And when you fail at the gate, you don't get a warning. You get a bill. Instantly. Double or even triple the check-in fee. One traveler described paying $145 for a bag that was just 1 inch too thick. Airlines call it enforcement. Travelers call it a trap. And here's the twist most people still don't know. Some airlines are now enforcing weight limits too, 8 to 10 kilograms. That's roughly 17 to 22 pounds. And on certain carriers, that limit applies to the combined weight of your carry-on and your personal item. But this rule is easy to beat if you prepare before you leave the house. Measure your bag, wheels and handles included, weigh it with a cheap portable scale, and if you're close to the limit, pre-check the bag online. 5 minutes of prep can save you a $200 mistake. Rule #2. The personal item crackdown. And this one is catching even seasoned travelers by surprise. Remember when your personal item was your loophole? The place you stuffed souvenirs, snacks, jackets, chargers, basically everything that didn't fit in your main bag. Those days are over. Airlines are now policing under-seat space with the same intensity they use on overhead bins, and that bulky tote or overstuffed backpack you love has become the new red flag. It might slide through security, but the moment you reach the gate, it becomes a target. One Delta passenger in Seattle described being forced to cram her handbag into her backpack in front of a full boarding group because the agent said she had 2 items, not 1. The embarrassment wasn't the worst part. The worst part was knowing she could have avoided it. Here's how pros get through untouched. Treat your personal item like real luggage, not an overflow bag. Choose a compact, structured design that keeps its shape and clearly fits under the seat, and never overstuff it. If the zippers look like they're fighting for their lives, a gate agent will notice. A neat, compact bag almost never gets questioned. And that alone can save your entire boarding experience. Rule #3. The smart luggage ban. And it's one of the most brutal changes of 2026. Smart luggage sounds convenient. Built-in chargers, tracking systems, sleek designs, but the lithium batteries inside them, they're now a major fire risk in the cargo hold. And the new rule is absolute. If the battery cannot be removed quickly and without tools, the bag is banned. Not just from being checked, banned from the flight entirely. One traveler in Atlanta learned this the hard way. She arrived at the counter with a $300 smart suitcase she'd used for years, but the battery required a screwdriver to remove. Security was closing, her flight was boarding, and with no time to disassemble the bag, she had to abandon it right there in the terminal. A perfectly good suitcase, left behind because the battery wasn't accessible. So here's the simple solution. Before you pack, flip your bag over and check it yourself. Can the battery pop out in seconds? You're safe. If it's sewn in, hidden under fabric, or requires tools, that bag is grounded, literally. And one more pro tip. Make sure the watt-hour rating on your power banks is clearly printed. If TSA can't read it, they have the authority to seize it on the spot. Rule number 4. Liquids and security confusion. And just when you thought everyone had mastered the 311 rule, 2026 introduces 2 nasty curveballs. Curveball 1. A growing number of airports now use advanced CT scanners that let you leave liquids and laptops inside your bag. Sounds great. Until you realize these scanners are only installed in some airports, in some terminals, and in some lanes. You could breeze through 1 minute, then get barked at the next. You never know which lane you're walking into until you're already unloading your bag. Curveball 2. TSA finally clarified what counts as a liquid, and the definition is painfully simple. If you can spread it, it's a liquid. Peanut butter, hummus, cream cheese, lotions, gels, sauces, all of it falls under the 3.4-ounce rule. And if it's not in your quart-sized bag, security will pull you aside every time. So here's the fix. Always pack for the worst-case scenario. Keep your liquids bag right on top of your carry-on, ready to grab. Declare any medically necessary liquids before your bag enters the scanner, and assume you'll need to unpack everything. Smooth prep at home equals minutes saved at security, multiplied by 2 million travelers a day. Rule number 5. Real ID and biometric twist, and this is where the 2026 changes catch people completely off guard. Starting May 2025, the Real ID requirement finally went live nationwide, but 2026 adds a twist that most travelers still aren't prepared for: biometric screening. Instead of handing over your license, many airports now have a camera waiting for you. You step up, it scans your face, and the system attempts to match you to a federal database. No ID in your hand, no boarding pass, just a facial recognition check that's supposed to make security faster, and when it works, it is fast, but when it doesn't, it's chaos. The scanner can't read your face, the database doesn't match, the machine glitches, and suddenly you're being pulled into a secondary line while the clock ticks down toward boarding. Here's the part most travelers don't know: you can opt out. That is your legal right. But opting out means a manual ID check and diiskamosan, or daten pam, or diiskanan, and diinditstamosan, yaltinan, or datemotsain. It almost always takes longer. So here's the smart move. Always carry a physical real ID or passport, even if you're using a digital ID on your phone. Phones die, apps freeze, servers go down, plastic doesn't. Let's wrap up with the 2026 survival checklist, the 5 rules every traveler needs to follow. 1. Measure and weigh every single bag, including your personal item. The sizers and scales are unforgiving now. 2. Check your smart luggage. If the battery isn't removable without tools, that bag stays home. 3. Keep every battery, power bank, and spare cell in your carry-on, never in checked luggage. 4. Place your liquids bag right on top and assume you're walking into an old scanner every time. 5. Always carry a physical real ID or passport, even if you plan to use digital ID. Screenshot this list. It could save you $200 and a full-blown panic attack at the gate. Here's the truth. Airlines profit from confusion, but the moment you understand the rules, the entire game flips. You move through security calm, confident, and prepared, while everyone else scrambles to repack bags and argue with gate agents. Knowledge turns a stressful travel day into a smooth one. So here's your part in helping other travelers. What's the most ridiculous carry-on rule you've ever seen? Drop it in the comments. Your story might save someone's trip. And if this guide eased even a little of your stress, tap the like button. It helps this information reach more people who need it. Kindly subscribe for my next travel episode. Travel smart, travel calm, and never get caught off guard again.